Okay. So I thought about wearing that outfit. I thought it would be funny, but I didn't do it. I have met with most of you, so I'm not really going to go over the personal stuff. Those of you that I have not had a one-to-one with, please let's set one up really soon. So I am a counselor, which is another word for a therapist, and my certification is, or licensure is, licensed professional counselor. And just so you know, you're also going to see people that are therapists, that are psychologists, that are marriage and family therapists, that are social workers. We all are different kinds of helpers. So I'm a licensed professional counselor associate. I graduated from Charlton with my MS in clinical mental health counseling just in May. So just so you guys know, research does not show that you are more effective the longer that you have been in your business. Therapists are good therapists or they are not good therapists. And I would bet that some of you in here have had not a great experience with a therapist. My supervisor is Dr. PJ Blanco. He's one of my professors. He taught me play therapy. He is also a supervisor for registered play therapy, which I am working to become a registered play therapist also. My specialized training is going to be in child-centered play therapy and also child-parent relationship therapy. I've also done work in expressive arts and grief. And the big issues that I see people come in with are anxiety, depression, and grief. Anxiety and depression are the number one reason that people do seek therapy. So I help children, parents, and other people, and that is so awkward, but I don't really know how to say that, but I work with kids, I work with all ages, I really like parents, and then I like adults, and I use evidence-based practice. So child-centered play therapy, a lot of times people are like, are you just playing with kids? That's not what I'm doing at all. It's something that's been researched since the 1940s, and it is shown that children do benefit from this. I do in-person sessions only for children. I do not see children virtually. I'm located over in West Bend, which is just off of the university. It's super close to where we are. I work with adults in person or video. I much prefer in person. Even when I am on telehealth with a counselor, it's hard for me to not get distracted by notifications coming up or to want to like look on my phone and like show something. In person is just more intimate. If somebody really needs video, I have worked successfully with people that live in Houston or Arlington that just could not come into Fort Worth, but I prefer to work with people in person, even if they only come in person for 1 to 2 sessions and then we meet virtually after that. Parent consultation is always part of play therapy, which means that I talk with parents about what we're doing in therapy and what I see their child progressing and struggling with every 3 to 5 sessions. My favorite clients, that is an easy way of saying these are my asks. And these are people that I have worked with in the past. I really have enjoyed working with children that are processing a death loss. I know that sounds super sad, but kids are kids, and they don't always have the words to talk about death and what they're feeling that adults do. I volunteer at the Warm Place on Wednesday nights, and I work, last night I worked with kids that are first grade, second grade, and then my regular group, which is on the other Wednesday, is kids that are 3rd through 5th grade. So I love working with those kids. I also work with parents who need support in understanding their child. A lot of times parents can get frustrated with their kids, and then we talk, and really the child is doing things that are absolutely developmentally appropriate, but the parents are expecting for their kids to maybe be doing things that a 6-year-old would be doing, but their kid's only 4 years old. So they're like, hey, they're not paying attention, they're screaming, they're clumsy, they're doing this. And I'm like, yeah, those are developmentally appropriate things for a 4-year-old. So that sometimes is, the parent may think that it's the child that needs therapy, but really it's the parent kind of like working through their frustration and figuring out how to work on the relationship with their child. people struggling with life transitions. A lot of times those do bring up a lot of anxiety for us. And anxiety, just real quickly, if that's something that you're like, what is anxiety? Isn't that just worry? It's really kind of pervasive in that you're worried about the future and that you don't have the tools to deal with what's coming. People also come in with depression. Depression a lot of times is about the past, and it's about things that did not go well and kind of the idea that things are going to continue to not go well in the future. And people just kind of get stuck thinking about those things, and in therapy we can kind of work out what happened and that there is hope for the future, that things can change. I know in BNI that we like to be really specific about our people, and I think that the first week I came in, I said, I love to work with women that are going through perimenopause and menopause. That's a life transition. There's a lot of anxiety and depression and grief with it. Anxiety about, what's happening to my body? Why do I feel like this? Am I always going to feel like this? Some depression and grief about getting older. It's kind of a slap in the face to be going through that. I also said at the very beginning that I love to work with young women with anxiety. I have had the opportunity to work with a lot of young women with anxiety. Recently, I've gotten a couple of clients that are young men with anxiety, and I really like them too. The difference when you work with women and men is generally women have already talked to all of their friends about all of this. Men, it may be the very first time that they are saying this. And there's something about therapy that saying it out loud to someone else takes the power out of something, and it changes the way that you see it, and having someone repeat it back to you, it may not sound as scary or as overwhelming. One of the things that I've talked in the one-on-ones with people about therapy and what I do is I ask people, do you have someone in your life that listens to you? If you have someone that listens to you in your life, you're very lucky. The next question is, do you have someone in your life that listens to you and doesn't try to fix it? Because that's not my job. I am not a fixer. I do not have a magic wand. They did not give me one when I graduated. But what I do is I help people work on tools so that they can fix whatever is going on in their life. So what to listen and look for. So you know that somebody might need therapy if you see these things, and I have them written down. I'm going to kind of go over them and expand on them. But anybody can benefit from counseling. Not everybody needs counseling, but everyone can benefit from having someone to talk to. Just a real quick story. The first time that I thought about doing this as a profession, I was probably 13 or 14 years old, and I told my dad, and he was like, well, why would you want to do that? And I was like, well, I want to help people with their problems. And he said, the same thing I've been saying, maybe people just need somebody to talk to. And the more I have done this, the more I have found it to be true. That sometimes people just need someone to talk to because they don't have that. Some things that kind of happen with people that they're like, all right, yeah. With little kids, if you're seeing behavior in a child that is significantly different than their same aged peers, then that's something that you might want to come to counseling to say, hey, is my kid developmentally in the same place? And then if they're not, and I'm seeing things that are maybe looking like ADHD, learning difficulties, then I would refer out to a psychologist that does testing for those kinds of things. And then it just helps, even if the kid does have, ADHD, to have somebody to work with one-to-one, and that supports them when they are in school. If you're seeing a kid that's got separation anxiety, or they're withdrawing from their friends, or they're frequently clingy, that's something else that a kid might benefit from play therapy. If you're having any big life changes, okay, so big life changes throw us as adults, but for little kids, you kind of look at a parent's divorce. Or if your parents are already divorced and the parents are remarrying and the kid is entering a blended family, they're not sure what their role is in that family. If you're looking at school transitions, so if we're going into preschool for the first time, if we are going from preschool to kindergarten, if we're making that big jump to middle school, and that is a big jump from grammar school to middle school, all kinds of things are happening at that age. then going into high school, and then going into college. Those are all huge transitions for kids. That they may want to talk with somebody that does not have any skin in the game, that is not their parent, but someone that can look at it and say, yeah, these are the things that are happening in your life. If you're seeing a kid that's getting bullied, that's a great kid that is going to be supported by therapy. Trauma, so I have this like later down, like kids that are exposed to distressing news. Just 4th of July, we had the thing happen in Camp Mystic. Yeah.
Your count.
That's not I'm done.
Unfortunately, but
Oh my gosh, because when I did this and I was practicing, I kept coming in at like 7 minutes because I was doing it so fast.
you're doing great.
But yeah, that's just like, and then the ask, like how you can help, it's just, so here's the deal. You don't need a therapist until you need a therapist, but then you needed it yesterday. So what I would encourage you to do is on BNI Connect, go ahead and send this to like your friends and family. I've already told all of you guys, I will never be your therapist because we already have a relationship. And I hope to become friends with all of you. Ethically, we do not work with our friends. And I can work with your spouses. I know we're friends because I brought you the basil. I can work with your spouses. We will never ever talk about it. I can work with your adult children and friends and family. And but looking for pediatricians, and then if you like are in a mom's group or something, if you would put that. Anyway, thanks a lot.
That was awesome.